Hi, fam. Welcome back to another episode. This one's going to be about letting the past go because it has been something that has been coming up a lot recently. And I know for me personally, I have let the past control a lot of things in my life throughout the years. And this last week, we were really given an opportunity with the Schumann resonance, bump in energy, and all the things to let go of that past, to fully close out the cycles. And something that I feel has been coming up a lot is like, you don't have to keep revisiting the same lessons. Like, you've learned what you needed to. It's about taking that and moving forward. You don't have to go back into them. And I know this is probably only going to reach a certain, group of people, and that's fine. I really truly feel like we tend to get in our own way. It's funny because a friend called me out on that last night. We were calling each other out, really. But we were talking about getting in our own way and how it's really us. It's me versus me, right? No one's coming to save me. No one else is going to do the work for me, right? Like, people will come and help me. But ultimately, when you let the past get the best of you, you aren't able to move forward in the way that your heart truly desires. And a practice that I've started to cultivate and play with is when a past thought or a past event or whatever it is comes up, I'm like, okay, I see you, but that's in the past. That doesn't mean that this is where we're going forward, right? And this could be in terms of money or relationships or places that I've been or things just that have happened, right? It's not about pulling the past forward. It's about being in the present moment and knowing and seeing everything that is around you and knowing that that past version got you here, but that doesn't have to carry forward. 222. Coming into balance and harmony with yourself and making peace with what's happened, knowing that that situation, that event, that person, that place, that thing had to come in that moment to get you to where you're going or where you have been, right? If we're talking about the past. And I know for me personally, like, I have had a lot of money stuff come up and I'm like, okay, but that was me before. Like, if I look at my external reality right now, like, look at all the goodness that is here for me and look at what was given to me. That previous version of me, yes, this is what she dreamt of. And so this is here. This is my present reality now because I have done the work to get past that point, right? To get past that version of me. And I've been really heavy in reflection about things that have happened in the past and realizing that last year was beautiful. There's so many highs and lows, so many. But it taught me a lot. And I gained a lot of wisdom from it. And knowing that I had to have those experiences to get me to where I am now in order to be able to truly appreciate where I am now. And sometimes that's really hard to sit with, not gonna lie. Like, I sit with some of the stuff that's happened in the last year and I'm like, really the last 2 years. And I'm like, I'm really proud of myself for just continuing on. And some people ask how I got here. And some days I'm like, yeah, I kept moving forward. I don't know how, because there was many a moment where I just wanted to give in. I wanted to give up. I wanted to throw in the towel. I was like, what the fuck is the point? I keep moving forward, but like, why? And I know now that it was all for a reason. I know now that everything that happened led me to where I am now, to this beautiful space, to this home that I've been gifted for the last couple weeks. And what magic that is that happened. And it just seemingly fell out of thin air into my lap, right? All because I, picked the right seat on the plane. Ultimately, it would have happened, like, everything would have happened exactly how it was meant to, no matter what. But it's wild. And I'm so grateful for those past versions of me that got me to this point. And it didn't happen overnight. It's been a long year. In fact, this week has really been filled with like looking at last year versus this year and just literally how so much can change in a year. And knowing that those situations had to happen at the time that they did, even if I didn't understand it. And we don't understand why things happen until after they've happened. And then the clarity comes through and it's like, oh, okay, I understand why that had to happen because that got me to go there. And it's just a domino effect, right? And at the same time, I know my soul would not let me regress at this point. But it's about letting the past go and knowing that it served its purpose and laying it to rest. And a lot of times that comes with identity shifts and identity deaths and leaving behind old pieces of yourself that have gotten you to this point, but they're not necessarily meant to move forward with you. And that can be really difficult sometimes because those identities built up over time made you into the person that you are now. But it doesn't mean you have to carry their struggles and their pain and their stories anymore. And sometimes there's a lot of grief that can come up with that because it's just like when you're grieving an actual physical person who passes away, it's grieving those versions of yourself. And grief has felt it's come in waves recently, honestly. But it's about feeling all of the emotions that come with that, not just the grief, but the excitement and the down moments and the joy. And there's so much that comes with it, right? Because it's like, dang, I'm grieving that version of me because of what they went through, because I'm not that person anymore. But I'm also at the same time so grateful for those situations because they shaped me into who I am now. And without that, I wouldn't be me. I don't know who I would be, But also realizing that life doesn't have to be as hard as we fucking make it. A lot of those situations, I was making it likely harder than it needed to be. I was forcing things and forcing the timing of things. This last year has taught me so many lessons with timing. And everything will always show up exactly when it's meant to. And it can be really hard to trust in the unknown. But ultimately, it's about trusting in yourself and knowing that if you've made it to this point, there's a reason. And to just keep trusting. Because everything will unfold exactly when it's meant to. And time isn't real. Something I've been reminded of recently is like in looking at the past and seeing where I was, when I was going through my divorce in end of 2021 into 2022. And we signed right before Christmas. And they said, it's probably going to take about 6 weeks because, courts are closed for the holidays and all XYZ. And I was like, okay, so on my mind, I had 6 weeks. And I was like, well, I got to make the best of it because I can't really do anything until that's done. And not 2.5 weeks later, we got the finalization email. And I frequently go back to that moment of that just goes to show that if something is in alignment for you, it can happen so much faster than the actual real world thinks it might happen in whatever timing, right? The 6 weeks versus 2.5. And I knew I wasn't meant to be in that relationship anymore. I knew that I was meant to go through the divorce and move cross country and do all the things that I've done. And has it been scary? Yeah, absolutely. Have I become the best version of myself? Absolutely. I'm not that same person anymore. And it's wild to look back at that past, right? And I just have so much love and gratitude for it because it's gotten me to where I am now. And all of the lessons and the hard choices and the tough moments and the tears and even the joyful moments, right? It's a culmination of all of it. And what beauty that is to have experienced all of that. But it's not about bringing that with me. It's about taking away the lessons and the wisdom that you've gained along the way. And sometimes that's the hardest part, right? You want to go back into all these memories, go back into the past, but the past doesn't really serve you. It's the wisdom and the lessons and the knowledge that you gained along the way. That is what's beneficial. But a lot of times we get gobbled up in all the goop, if you will, lost in the sauce. And so if you're someone who is going through an identity shift, just know that it gets better. And the more nervous system regulation that you can do, and the more letting go that you can do, cutting cords, having a grief ceremony or a funeral for that identity, whatever it is, like, just know that it's all for a reason and it's getting you to where you want to go. I felt like I've been constantly unraveling these last few months, but I know that it's all been worth it, and I know that it will continue to be worth it because I'm choosing me and I trust in me. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that things get better because I am sitting here in this beautiful house with a beautiful view of the mountains in Central Oregon. And truthfully, I don't know if that past version of me would have been able to handle this now. You develop capacity along the way, and I'm really grateful for that version of me that kept going and built the capacity to handle what I can handle now. Because that's like the key piece to identity shifts is the capacity and being able to hold more. And your nervous system is regulated to hold more. Like when I got here, I was like, wow, this place is beautiful. But I was so in my body and I was like, wow, I'm so here. Like, of course I'm here. Of course this is my life. Of course this is happening. And so my challenge for you, my offering for you is to let go of the past and leave it in the past. And anytime a past thought, feeling, moment, voice, whatever it is comes up, ask yourself, is this benefiting me going forward? And really, what wisdom or knowledge can I take away from this? And leave the past in the past. Let it be there. It doesn't need to come forward with you because you are not that version anymore. But you can take away the wisdom and the knowledge. And that's pretty fucking cool, if you ask me. Yeah. And nervous system regulation, this feels complete, but I just want to add this little bit in about nervous system regulation. It can be so many different things. It is about the regulation piece and the rewiring, and also just knowing that it doesn't happen overnight and it can take time. But the more you chip away at it and commit to yourself, the bigger your capacity becomes. And then you look back and you're like, holy shit, I did it. I got here. And that may look like breath work or meditation or journaling. There's so many different ways. I personally like all three of them, but I float in and out through various points in my life. And I'm grateful for each one, grateful for all the tools, because they've all gotten me where I am now. So anyways, I love y'all so much. I hope you have a beautiful day whenever this finds you. If you're interested, I am also hosting a day event. It's going to be held, the first one's going to be held in Asheville, North Carolina on April 18th. I would love to have you there if that is something that speaks to you. We'll be going to get coffee. We'll be going out in nature. We're going to dance. We're going to do some energy healing, listen to music, and just have a full-blown experience. So feel free to comment, like, share. Feel free to reach out on social media. If you are interested, I can send you more details. I would love to have you there. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. And I'll see you on the next one. Mwah.